Alrighty, morning everyone, and welcome back to another beautiful video on this beautiful channel on another beautiful day. In today's video, as I hurt my foot a little bit and we can't really do any scrapping right now, I wanted to talk with you about the copper prices. How copper is behaving at the moment, and if you should keep your copper right now and wait for the prices to go up further, or if you should sell it right now. Because, well, obviously the copper price is not very low right now, even though it did drop a good chunk over the last month. So yeah, there's quite a few things to think about when you're talking about stuff like that, because it's obviously not an easy decision. First of all, you have to take a look at how much copper you actually have, and most importantly, how much money you got involved in it. If you have, for example, a lot of stuff like, for example, wire like this one, yeah, like stuff like this, like heavy gauge stuff, but that you probably paid good money for, and that you should most likely get your money back out of as soon as possible, I would say that it's probably a good idea to sell it. You know, you gotta make your own decision. I'm just here to give you a little bit of insights on how my train of thoughts goes in that regard. So if you've got a lot of money involved in scrap, for example, like this, where you probably have to pay like up to 70% of the actual value of the copper in there, I think, for me personally, it will be the best to go ahead and sell it. It doesn't really matter what kind of price we have at the moment. Gambling on the price of copper is not a good idea when you've got a lot of money involved in it, because obviously the price of copper could also drop drastically pretty quickly, because it is, at the end of the day, a commodity that is publicly traded on the stock market, and therefore it is subject to a lot of volatility, meaning the chart going up and down and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So honestly, I wouldn't gamble on that. If you've got a lot of money involved, I would always suggest get your profit out of it first, because it's not worth taking the risk. If you can make a good profit, why take the risk of losing it, right? I mean, there's not really that much upside. If copper goes up like 10%, okay, great stuff, you made another 10%, but how big is the difference really going to be for the profit that you're going to make in the end of the day? I would say not as major, not as significant as, for example, losing your entire profit because of some weird geopolitical shit happening that then goes ahead and crushes copper prices. You know, can happen. Happened in the past, right? So I wouldn't gamble on that. If you've got money involved in something that you need the money back out of it, I would reckon just go ahead and sell it. However, that's not always the case. For example, I buy a lot of stuff that is really odd kind of stuff that doesn't really have any value as is. For example, these big switches that I got these massive silver copper contacts from. You know, I made a whole video series about those, so you can go back in the video playlist and then watch those. But I paid motor and transformer price for them. Yeah, which is like 70 cents a kilo, and they were worth like, what, probably $3 a kilo? So, you know, I made a pretty decent profit on that, and I really don't need to get my 70 cents a kilo out of that, because, well, if a thing like that weighed 30 kilos, I maybe paid like $20 for it. Just at the top of my head, I didn't calculate that. But you know, $20, I can live without $20, because I got like approximately, well, let's say if it's 30 kilos, 15 kilos of copper, I got like, what, $80-90 of copper out of it. So, you know, with stuff like that, might as well wait. Maybe something happens. If nothing happens, oh well, so what? I still have my copper, I can melt that into bars, like this one, for example. This one is actually, I'm not going to sell that one because it has big holes in there, so I just have it laying around here for anyone that might be concerned about what I'm actually up to. I showed them this, but for example, melting copper into a bar like this. You should only really melt like a copper out of wire into a bar like this, because other copper alloys can have different stuff in it that we don't really want to melt down. But if you're just melting copper wire, you can turn them into bars like this, sell them for like probably double, maybe even 3 times the price of copper at the moment. So that's always something you can do. So if the price of copper starts to dramatically drop all of a sudden, you still have the option to do that, so you still would get a good amount of money for your copper. It will take some time. Obviously, melting bars takes time. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's also not very hard. So that is always an option. What is obviously also always an option is if you get stuff for free. For example, when you go street scrapping, almost all of the stuff that you get there is free. Wire like this, you know, you get a ton of that. Sometimes even like bigger stuff like this, but that's rare, I know that. Chunks of copper, stuff like that, old copper, whatever, cooking pots and stuff like that. You know, if you think the price of copper is gonna go up and you got the stuff for free, might as well wait it out, right? I mean, if you think that in the future copper is gonna be worth more than it is today, I don't think there's anything wrong with just sitting there and waiting it out and seeing how the price of copper is gonna behave. And also, if sheesh really hits the fan over the world, you know, all over the world, you can still take your copper and manufacture stuff out of it. It's really easy. It's a really easy metal to work with, and that's also something. So if you're concerned about that, that's also something for that. So if you get stuff for free and you think the copper price is going to go up in future, I would reckon keep it, wait, see what happens. And if nothing happens, you know what, you can still sell it because you still got it for free. And if, you know, the copper price goes down 20%, it doesn't really matter because you still got it for free. There's no money involved. You're not really taking a loss there because, well, you didn't have any money involved. Obviously, you could have gotten a little bit more had you sold it a little bit earlier. But you know what? Does that really matter? Because it really only matters what you get in the exact moment for your copper, and it could have just as well gone up. So, you know, if you want to take a chance, do it with the stuff that you get for free, not with the stuff that you've got a lot of money involved in it. Obviously, with this stuff like this, this is easier to just set aside and stuff like that. This is the high value stuff, the high density stuff, that is really easy to just say, oh, well, I'm going to keep that and see how the price is going to behave. But many people don't think about the fact that they have to get their money back out of it because we are obviously in the business to make money with scrapping. I mean, most people probably are. Some of you are probably also doing it for like fun and stuff like that. But personally, I am in the business to make money, and so when I get a lot of money involved in stuff like this, it has to go. That's just it. It doesn't really matter what the price is at this very moment, because I'm selling it a few days after I bought it, and the price is not going to fluctuate that much. So if the price is dropping drastically in a very moment, I calculate for that. I put a few more cents away in my pockets, so to say, just to make sure that I don't lose money in these 1 to 2 days that I have to process the stuff. Which is, you know, I think that's fair. Obviously, it's really my problem if the price falls, so it's not the customer's fault, but that's why I only do a few, like, tiny percent if I really see that the copper price is majorly falling right now, because obviously I don't want to lose a lot of money either. That would really suck. And that would also, you know, over the long term, not give me the opportunity to buy more scrap from my customers, which they would in turn not really like. So, you know, I think it's a fair thing for both parties. No one's really losing a lot of money on that, and my prices are very, very, very fair. Probably the best ones you're gonna get over here, but yeah. That's mainly because I process all the stuff myself. Another option that can be useful if you want to just, you know, invest a little bit in copper, so to say, invest in a commodity like copper, with transformers, for example. You know, I do a lot of transformers. I pay, well, nowadays I pay pretty much €1 a kilo, but before the price of copper started going up so much, I paid about 70 cents a kilo for copper transformers. And I got a lot of big ones like this at one time. I made a video about that as well. And this is basically just the winding of the transformer. You can see this is about the size of the coil. Of one coil, it has 3 coils. It was like, you know, you can about imagine it. And obviously, if you get something like that has like more than 30% copper value, you're gonna get your money back pretty quickly. You will double or more the money that you put into it if you sell all the copper. So what I did here is I sold most of the copper, obviously to the point where I basically got my money back and made a bit of a profit, and then I just kept whatever 10 kilos or something like that for myself. That was basically free. So that's also a good way of just setting some copper aside every now and then, and it's gonna accumulate to a good chunk of money over time. I think I'll probably have like around 200 kilos of good, at least berry copper laying around over here, and I can sell that at any point. If I wanted to, I can also melt down into bars and sell some more of those. It's basically just a little bit of a savings account, so to speak, so that you can set up yourself and that you can just accumulate a little bit into every now and then, and it's gonna add up to a good chunk of money at some point. So that's also a really cool thing. And then if you maybe want to grow your business a little bit, buy some more expensive equipment, you can liquidate this copper that you set aside and buy this equipment from that, and you didn't really notice that the money was missing before because it really wasn't a great chunk of your profit. So that's also a pretty useful thing that I'm doing every now and then, to just accumulate a little bit of copper, save some, and also maybe whatever, invest some money into copper. The cool thing about contacts like this one, for example, is that they are obviously plated in silver. They don't always have to be plated in silver. There are also some that are plated in tin or zinc or whatever, a lot of stuff. This is definitely silver. You can see the black oxide layer here. And so this is definitely something that is also somewhat a little bit of an investment into silver, because they are actually worth more than just the copper price. So the silver on them has a value. You could obviously sell them and just take the difference between the copper price and what you get for them, and buy like complete silver coins, like for example these ones, and stuff like that, or like 1 ounce coins like these. And I think a lot of scrappers are also into accumulating silver coins and gold coins and stuff like that, and I'm no different. So that's definitely something that I really like, because obviously we are all working with metals at the end of the day, with commodities, and I think that all of us are pretty confident that metals are going to go up in value in the next couple of years. Whether or not that's true, who knows, but at the end of the day, it's still a fun hobby that you can do when you're bored or whatever, and just do it on the sidelines, and it's gonna accumulate a little bit of money that you can use for some maybe a little bit bigger project in the future. So yeah, I would say that's pretty much it from my side. Tell me your perspective of the whole situation. Would you sell your copper? Would you keep some of your copper? How are you treating stuff like that? I would be very curious about that. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm gonna do a little bit more of these just like scrap talk videos, because I actually quite enjoy them. I don't have to do two things at a time, which would be scrapping and then talking. I'm gonna do scrapping videos and talking videos a little bit separately, because I can really focus on one thing at a time. I think that's gonna make them a little bit better. And so yeah, really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you've got any more questions whatsoever, be sure to write them in the comments below. As always, I'd be very happy to answer those. You can also rate the video with either like a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you might want to do. And you can also subscribe to the channel, because we're almost at 800 subscribers, which is really cool. So yeah, if you want to do that, go ahead and do that, and I'll see you again in the next one. Have a fantastic week, and until next time.